Hey everyone, welcome or welcome back to the Missy Money channel. I'm Missy, I'm a mom of 3 and the owner of Missy Money, a small business that specializes in minimalist and aesthetic cash stuffing essentials to help inspire and motivate you on your personal finance and budgeting journey. Today I'm going to be doing a cash condensing of my savings challenges and sinking funds, so if you're interested in learning more, stay tuned. All right, guys, it is cash condensing time, and this has been a long time coming. I have a feeling that this is going to be my largest cash condensing that I've ever done. So I am super excited to get started. I did get out some starting cash. It's very minimal. I did not get out any 100s because as I go through the condensing process, I am confident that I will have 100s, and you'll see why in a moment. But I did think it was worth getting out a few 50s. So I've got $250 in starting cash, and I'm going to go ahead and put that into my cash tray. And then I'm just going to go ahead and make a note of that we have $250 of starting cash. So as we do the reconciliation at the end, I know how much I should be counting up. So before we get started, I just want to do a quick kind of explanation of cash condensing. So if you're new to cash stuffing, the process of cash condensing is literally what it sounds like. It's the process of condensing down the number of bills that you have in sinking funds. And for me, I also do a couple of savings challenges. There are some savings challenges I don't do, but for rolling savings challenges, I do the condensing process. And it's literally swapping out lower denomination bills for higher denomination bills and placeholder bills. When we get to placeholder bills, I'll kind of explain that process, but placeholder bills are essentially what they sound like. It's a little placeholder note that enables you to keep cash in the bank while still designating money in any given category that is sitting in the bank tied to that category. So when I do my first one, I'll kind of talk you through that process and what it looks like, but I am super excited for this. I have not done a condensing in several months, so it is definitely time for me to go through and condense down everything we've got. So I am first going to start with my Magical Vacation Savings Challenge, and that'll be the first thing that we condense. So give me a second to get that out. All right, guys, I am going to start with the Magical Vacation Savings Challenge. Number 1, because I know I'm going to get a lot of 100s back. And number 2, because this is one that I am going to be tracking a little bit differently just because the nature of the savings challenge is so different. So a lot of my savings challenges are either like save and done at the end of kind of the point that I reach my goal. 12-month savings challenge is a really good example of that. Or they are rolling savings challenges, meaning that I am continuously kind of moving on to the next one, moving on to the next one, which holiday savings challenge is a really good example of that. Magical Vacation Savings Challenge is interesting because there's not technically a goal date. Well, I guess our vacation date would be the goal date, but there's a goal amount for each of these challenges. And I anticipate that the bulk of these challenges I am going to ultimately be spending by card. So I am choosing to track this one a little bit differently. I'll kind of show you what I decided that I'm going to be doing because I do want to keep a bulk of these dollars in the bank and track them kind of differently than placeholders. Again, this is not my norm. Normally I do track versus placeholders and you'll see that, but that's why I wanted to jump in this one early. So my other savings challenge, my total savings here is $10,000. Some of that is already in placeholder, and then we will also count up the cash. So I'm just going to go ahead and give this a count first. I'm going to make sure that it's all 100s before I give it a count. Yep, all 100s in here. And this is how I knew I didn't need to get 100s out of the bank. All right, so I have got $2,000, $3,000, $3,500 in placeholder bills. And then I also have already spent $2,000 of this on the deposit. So I've got $5,500 that's already accounted for. This total savings challenge is $10,000. So I would expect to have $4,500 here in cash. So let's go ahead and give that a count and make sure that that's true. So 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, $1,000. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, $2,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, $3,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, $4,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that right? Did I miscount, guys? Or did I just save an extra $100 somehow? 100, 200, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have no idea how I miscounted the first time, but I have $4,500, which is what I expected. All of that is going to go into the bank. I am going to go ahead and mark that down. I'm also going to take the placeholders and set those aside. So as I mentioned, I already had $3,500 of that sitting in the bank. It's in my bank account. It's accounted for. So here's how I'm going to start tracking, because this is a really good example. When our cruise fare comes due, it's going to come due as a single card payment. So, so I want to have all this money in the bank ready to go for the balance of that cruise fare. So instead of tracking it on the back of my tracker, which is kind of what I've been doing to date, when a challenge is finished, I am going to go ahead and use a sinking fund tracker to track my spend on this. Instead of placeholder bills. So I'll kind of show you, I'm going to do other as my category and just put, for me, that's cruise fare. And I'm just going to do today's date. Let me look and see what today's date is. And I'm going to do my initial just kind of starting point of 10,000. I'm going to transfer over what I did on 3/15. That was a minus. I did 2,000 for that. And so my balance to spend here is 8,000. Then when I pay off a payment or any part of my cruise fare, I'm just going to go ahead and mark it on here and then make note of it as I'm doing my unstuffings. I think that for me, that's going to be the easiest when it comes to this challenge. I am, however, going to use a little fully funded placeholder just in the front of that challenge so I can easily tell which ones are fully funded. And again, that's just a little placeholder bill that I'm just going to put right in front of the tracker that says fully funded. So that way I've got it kind of everything in that envelope. And as I make cruise or, you know, magical vacation transactions, I can still track it. But I am not having to keep, you know, bigger placeholder bills in here in order to do that. All right, so let's go ahead now. That was a big one, and that gave me a lot of 100s. Let's go ahead and go through airfare. I'm going to set up the same way here. I'm just going to take that. I'm going to grab a fully funded on airfare because that one is also fully funded. And I'm not condensing that down. I'm just kind of doing the same, using the same process that I decided on to mark that one fully funded as well. Okay, packing. I don't think I've got what I'm going to need to condense that in terms of mix of bills. So let's go to something that will give me a mix of bills. Okay, tickets. Tickets is now fully funded. I should have $1,500 in here. So let's go ahead and give this account. I had a $1,000 placeholder. So let's go ahead and give this account. This should be $500. So 100, 200, 300, 20, 40, 60, 80, 400, 20, 40, 60, 80, 90, 500. Perfect. We'll put the 100s there. Perfect. Now this is giving me the mix of bills that I need. I think I hear Lola crying downstairs, so I might need to go grab her. because she cannot come upstairs by herself anymore. So when she needs a little puppy Uber, she yells at the bottom of the stairs. Let me go get her. All right, guys. So now I think because we've got a mix of bills, I'm actually gonna move everything up here because, well, actually, I lied. I'm not gonna do that because I think I'll be condensing some ones later, so we'll leave room in the cash tray for that. Okay, now we can go in order. Airfare is fully funded. Packing has 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75. So I'm just going to take 4 of these 5s and swap them out for 20. Not a ton of condensing to do there, but we will take what we can get on that one. Pre-trip prep is 50, 75. Can't condense that one down anymore, which is fine. Accommodations has $1,500 in placeholders. I did finish this challenge, so there should be, I have spent some of this, a deposit of $400. So math is hard. 2,100. There should be $600 here, so let's give this a quick count. 100, 200, 300, 400, 556. Perfect. And we'll pull that. Get ourselves a little fully funded, and then I will start a tracker for this one. And then I already made the deposit, so I just want to track that. I did that on 6/4, $400, and now I will have $2,100 in the bank for this challenge, ready to spend when it is time to pay off the balance of our accommodations, which is great. Again, normally I would just keep like the actual amount of placeholders in each envelope, but just given that most of this spending is going to be on card, I'm just tracking it a little bit differently. All right, transportation. Transportation has 55, 65, 75. So I will do the same thing and take 4 5s, swap that for a 20. We're good to go on transportation. Food and drinks. Food and drinks is fully funded at $750. I have a $500 placeholder, so this should be $250. Let's see if that's correct. 100, 20, 40, 60, 80, 90, 200, 10, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So $250 in cash. And then we'll get a tracker on this one. For any of you that have gone to Disney, how does spending in the park work? Is there like, can you spend cash, or is it mostly card spending like in the park too? Like, is it on your little wrist thing? I know on the cruise everything is on your wrist, or so I've heard. Just on your little, like, you know, whatever, it serves as your like room key and everything. So so I'm just curious if in the parks it's a similar situation, if you like, if your card is tied to that, or how that all works. For those of you, I feel like there are Disney experts places, so curious what the situation is there. Okay, here is one that is not yet fully funded, but we do have a good amount of cash to condense. The first thing that I'm going to do is organized here, because for sinking funds, my cash is already in order, but for savings challenges, I do not organize along the way. So when we do a condensing, we are going to need to organize first. All right, so let's go ahead and give this one a count and see what condensing we can do. Entertainment. Entertainment has 100, 20, 40, 60, 80, 200, 20, 40, 60, 80, 90, 300, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, $400. So I'm going to go ahead and at least swap this out for 100s. One, two, three, perfect. 100, 200, 300, 400. Activities will be a similar position here. All right, let's see how much we've got here. 100, 20, 40, 60, 80, 200, 20, 40, 60, 80, 90, 300, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So 350, I will keep the 100. And then grab the 50. And the rest of this can go into the cash tray here. All right, spending. Spending, let's go ahead and organize as well. These all 10s. Yep, those are all 10s. All right. So spending has 50, 70, 90, 100, 10, 20, 30, 40, 45, 50. So 150, I will go ahead and keep the 50. Everything else will go into the cash tray and we'll grab 100. All right, souvenirs. Souvenirs has, I think this is already organized, it has 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Oops. Flinging fives everywhere. We'll grab a 50 for this one. Emergency has 100, 200, 300. Gosh, whatever. 100, my brain. 100, 1, golly, 10, 20, 30, 40, 45, 50. So 150. I'm going to swap out those 10s. I feel like those 10s are going to give me a problem when I'm doing my big count at the end, but we'll work through it. Okay, emergency 150. Pet care has $25. That's already condensed down as much as it can be. And then miscellaneous has $20, $30, $40, $50. So we will swap that for a 50. All right, guys, and I think that brings me back to other our cruise fare. Now, again, I'm only doing this tracking system for my Magical Vacation Savings Challenge for categories that are fully funded. So everything else I will continue to use cash as normal until the entire challenge is saved, and then everything will be sitting in the bank eventually. But that is now in much better shape, super condensed, and you can see how much cash we are able to pull out of challenges. So we are definitely off to the races in terms of this being on track for my largest condensing ever, just with that challenge alone. So let's go ahead and next, since we're in savings challenges, jump into the holiday savings challenge and see what we can condense here. I am not going to condense Celebrate or Halloween because those have both been fully spent. And so I'm doing my unstuffing at the end of this pay period. And so it's not worth it to me to condense that down, but we will go ahead and condense down Thanksgiving. That is also fully funded, but not spent. So for this challenge, I'll just condense like normal. I will use placeholders. I will treat them like cash just because this spending could be a mix of, you know, cash, bills, whatever. So I'm going to go ahead. This was already organized, so I'll go ahead and count up Thanksgiving. It should be 250, 100, 150, 170, 190, 210, 20, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So I will keep the 150. The rest of this will go into the tray here, and we'll pull another 100. And then Thanksgiving is fully funded and ready to spend. I'll just keep that as cash because that'll likely get spent as cash. All right, Christmas. I should have started with the profile of this one so you can see how much there was to condense. All right, Christmas is also fully funded, but I just continually save on this one. So I'm going to count the total saved as 2,000 since that was the goal, but I wouldn't be surprised if I've got more than that in here. Okay, so previously I had $1,500 in placeholders, so we'll just keep that in mind as we do a placeholder here. So Christmas in cash has 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 20, 40, 60, 80, 200, 20, 40, 60, 80, 300, 20, 40, 60, 80, 400, 20, 40, 60, 80, 500, 20, 40. All right, I'm going to keep those 20s out. This $500 I'm going to put over here, and then I'm going to take that $500 in cash and the $1,500 in placeholder and swap that for a $2,000 placeholder. I'm okay keeping the majority of this money in the bank because I spend Christmas, I do a lot of my Christmas shopping on like Black Friday to Cyber Monday. And so I anticipate a lot of those purchases are going to be on card. So I will just have that placeholder in there, but that is in a much better spot and we're able to take a lot of that to the bank. I'm just going to mark down that on my placeholder tracker so we know how much is going to the bank and how much I need to count up at the end. Okay, New Year's. Let's get organized because this could definitely get condensed down. All right. All right, so now New Year's has 20, 40, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 10, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So $150. So I am going to swap all of this out. For 150. All right, big game. Let's go ahead and give a count, see how much we've got as we get organized. All right, big game is up to 50, 100, 50, 200, 20, 40, 60, 80, 300, 20, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 95, 400. So I will go ahead and swap this one out for all 100s. One, two, 3, 4. Valentine's Day has $12. All I can do here is swap the 5s for a 10, so we'll do that, but That's it. St. Patty's Day is up to $10. So I will go ahead and swap all that out for a 10. All right, Easter has 20, 30, 40, 45, 50. So we'll swap that out. Just close the door, guys, real quick. Kids are sleeping. I'm doing this at night, so I just didn't want to be too loud. All right, Mother's Day. Mother's Day has $50. I will swap that out for 50. Cookout has 25 already condensed down, so just put that one back. All right, and Father's Day has 50 as well. I am going to go ahead and condense that one down too. And nothing in 4th of July. So that one is all set as well in a much better place. All right, next we will go into long-term sinking funds. So starting with emergency, let's go ahead and count where we're at. I have a $500 placeholder, and then in cash, I've got 100, 200, 300, 400, 450, 500, 550, 600, 650, 700, 750, 800, 850, 900, 950, 970, 990, $1,000 in cash. So I am going to go ahead and swap all of this out for a $1,000 placeholder. So I'll now have $1,500 in placeholder in emergency. Again, use placeholders just like cash. So when I said before that I would kind of explain this, I realized that I haven't. Placeholders work just like cash. So when I put this money into the bank, I'm going to put it into my savings. I'm going to know, because of the placeholders that I have in my emergency envelope, that $1,500 that's sitting in my savings or checking account, wherever you want it to sit, is tied to emergency. If for some reason I had to spend money in emergency, I would treat this just like cash. So I would either take a placeholder out and go trade it out for cash to put back into the envelope and spend the cash, or if I had a card transaction, I would take out the placeholder amount that tied to that card transaction and use it just like cash. So by treating it just like cash, it literally just stays, you know, as a placeholder and keeps the amount of cash that you're carrying within your actual envelopes to a minimum. So I really like it because it enables me, like I said, to carry a lot of my cash in the bank and be earning interest on that cash. So it's just a way for you to kind of keep the amount of cash that you're actually keeping within your binders to a reasonable level. So I really like placeholders. I know some people use like a cash stash binder. Some people use placeholders. I definitely prefer placeholders, but totally personal preference. All right, insurance. Let's go ahead and count up and see how much we've got here. So 100, 200, 20, 40, 60, 80, 300, 20, 40, 60, 80, 400, 20, 40, 60, 80, 90, 500, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 95, 600. So I'm going to keep a 100. And then we will swap the rest of this for a $500 placeholder. And then we've got $600 going back into insurance. So we're equal there. All right, home. Home, I have a $500 placeholder, and then let's count the cash. 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 350, 400, 450, 500, 550, 600, 650, 700, 20, 40, 60, 80, $800 in cash. So I'm gonna do 100, 200, 300. And then five. Oh, actually, I was going to do a $500 placeholder, but I had a $500 placeholder that was already in there. So I'm going to swap those out for a $1,000 placeholder. So now I've got 1,000, 100, 200, 300. So $1,300 going back into home, which is what it had to begin with. And I'm just going to mark that on my notes. All right, car. Car, again, starting with a $500 placeholder, and then cash, 100, 200, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 300, 10, 20, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 400. So I'm going to keep the two 100s. And the rest of this I'll put back into the cash tray and pull two 100s for that. So now I've got $400 in cash. In total for car, I've got 500, 600, 700, 800, 900. So $900 saved up in car. All right, subscriptions. Subscriptions has 100, 200, 250, 300, 350, 370, 390, 410, 430, 450, 470, 490, 510, 530, 550, 570, 590, 610, 620, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So $650. I'll keep a 100. I'll keep a 50, and then the rest of this will go into the cash tray, and we will swap for a $500 placeholder. So 500, 600, $650 going back into subscriptions. And then we'll move into annual passes. So annual passes has 100, 200, 250, 270, 290, 310, 330, 350, 360, 70, 80, 90, $400. I will keep the 200. And then we'll have $400 going back into annual passes. Birthdays. Birthdays has 100, 200, 300, 400, 20, 40, 60, 80, 500, 20, 40, 60, 80, 600, 20, 40, 60, 80, 90, 700, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 95, 800. Now this is a rare one where I am not going to condense into a placeholder. And the thing that's going to make me sound really shady is I'm not yet able to tell you why I'm going to do that, but I will just tell you it's tied to my upcoming product launch. So I am just for now going to condense this down in terms of total bills to $800, and we'll do that all in 100s. So birthdays now has 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800. I'm super excited for that upcoming shop drop. So that'll be super fun. St. Jude, I'm not going to condense down because, again, that's coming out with my unstuffing in the next couple of days. And that is now my long-term sinking fund binder. So much, much more condensed. All right, guys, short term. Last but not least, I don't think I'll have any placeholder here, but we can at least condense down bills. So shopping has 100, 20, 40, 60, 70, 80, 90, 95, 200. So we'll keep the 100. And $200 back into shopping. Clothing has 100, 20, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 95, 200. So I will do the same exact thing here. Just swap out these smaller bills for another 100. 20s are getting kind of hard to fit into the cash tray here. $200 into clothing. All right, guys, date night. Date night has 50, 70, 90, 110, 130, 150, 170, 190, 210, 230, 250, 270, 80, 90, 95, 300. So I am going to swap all of this out for 3 100s. 20s are screaming. I don't know why the cash is leaning forward. Okay, so date night, $300 going back into date night. All right, guys, family fun. Family fun has 50, 70, 90, 110, 130, 150, 170, 80, 90, 95, 200. And then we will take $200 back into family fun here. Self-care. Self-care has 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 20, 40, 45, 50. So we'll do the same thing and condense that one down as much as we can into a 100 and a 50. All right, Lola and Luna. Lola and Luna have 100, 20, 40, 60, 80, 200, 20, 40, 60, 80, 300, 20, 40, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 400. So I'll keep the 100. I don't know, guys. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit any more 20s in there. All right. Use your muscles. One, two, three. So that will put Lola and Luna back at $400. All right, gifts. Gifts has 50, 70, 90, 110, 130, 150, 60, 70, 80, 90, $200. It won't even go all the way down. That'll have to do. I think I'm almost at the end of condensing here, so we'll make that work. All right, gifts is at $200 now in school. School is at 50, 150, 220, 40, 45, 50. So I'm going to keep a 50. Guys, I can't remember if that was $250 or $150. And I have no way of checking. Okay, I think it was 250, so I'm gonna put 250 in here. If I am 100 short on my count, we are gonna know that that's the mistake that I made. So I'll write a note to myself that I just did that. So if I'm off, I can trace it back. Okay, oops. Oops is at 50, 70, 90, 110, 130, 150, 160, 170, 180, 190, $200. So I am going to swap that out. I don't even think the 20s are going to fit. Stuff in there as much as possible. And $200 into oops. And that is it, friends, for consolidating down envelopes. We have done the best we can. And now it is time for the hard part. So here is what we are going to do. We need to count up all of this cash, and I am very quickly going to add up what we should have in cash and then give you the total and how that breaks down. All right, guys, I believe we should have $9,100 in my cash tray. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to create a stack here. Ooh. Oh boy. Count it all up. See if we match that total, and then I will give you a breakdown of that cash and where it all came from. So here's my starting pile. I'm actually going to break this down because this is cray-cray. All right, and as I get piles of, normally I do piles of $1,000, but I don't have enough slots in my cash tray for that. So I'm going to do piles of $2,000 we will put into the cash tray. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and get started and see where we land. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, $2,000. That is my first 2,000. All right, next. 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 350, 400, 450, 500, 500, 50, 600, 650, 700, 750, 800, 850, 900, 950, 1,000. 50, 150, 250, 300, 50, 450, 550, 650, 750, 800, 850, 870, 890, 910, 930, 950, 970, 990, $1,000. So this pile is now $2,000. Okay, let's move into the 20s. 20, 40, 60, 81, 20, 40, 60, 82, 20, 40, 60, 83, 20, 40, 60, 84, 20, 40, 60, 85, 20, 40, 60, 86, 20, 40, 60, 87, 20, 40, 60, 88, 20, 40, 60, 89, 20, 40, 60, 80, $1,000. 20, 40, 60, 81, 20, 40, 60, 82, 20, 40, 60, 80, 3, 20, 40, 60, 84, 20, 40, 60, 85, 20, 40, 60, 86, 20, 40, 60, 87, 20, 40, 60, 88, 20, 40, 60, 89, 20, 40, 60, 80, 1,000. So we now have $2,000 here. So we are now up to 2,000, 4,000, 6,000. 20, 40, 60, 80, 1, 20, 40, 60, 80, 2, 20, 40, 60, 80, 3, 20, 40, 60, 80, 4, 20, 40, 60, 85, 20, 40, 60, 86, 20, 40, 60, 87, 20, 40, 60, 88, 20, 40, 60, 89, 20, 40, 60, 80, $1,000. 20, 40, 60, 81, 20, 40, 60, 82, 20, 40, 60, 83, 20, 40, 60, 84, 20, 40, 60, 85, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 96, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 700, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 800, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 900, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, $1,000. Those tens were tricky, so I hope that I counted those correctly. All right, 2,000, 4,000, 6,000, 8,000. $10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 200. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 300. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 400. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 500, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 600, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So $670. All right, guys, so I'm just jumping in here really fast to point out that I am about to make a miscount. So I caught it while I was editing, so wanted to point it out. I'm about to count the first two fives in the stack as tens, and you can see that I almost catch it and I correct that second one, but I don't go back and correct the first count. So this is how I get off by $5, and you'll see at the end of the count that I kind of stay off by $5. But the good news is I caught it. So I wanted to share because even experienced cash stuffers can make a mistake and you just keep going. All right, back to the count. 680, 690, 680, 685, 690, 695, $700. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, $800. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, $900. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, $1,000. So now this is $1,000. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, $100. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I was off by 5, which is freaking close, and I am calling that a win. I must have just miscounted fives. I'm not even going to go back and try to figure that out because that count was so much closer than I anticipated it being. I am sure I just miscounted a 5 somewhere, and I was off to the better, meaning that I had more cash than I was expecting. If I was missing a 5, that would bother me. But $9,105 we're going to call a win, knowing that I should have had $9,100. It'll be really interesting when I take this to the bank. I bet they'll run it through the money machine, and I'll be able to know if I really got $9,105 or if I just miscounted a 5. But either way, like I said, we're going to call that a win. That is close enough for government work. And we are going to take that because that is the largest cash condensing I have ever done by a mile. So here's how that $9,100 breaks down. I had $250 of starting cash. I pulled $4,500 in cash out of the Magical Vacation Savings Challenge, $500 in tickets, $600 from accommodations, $250 from food and drinks. And then in my holiday savings challenge, I had $500 of placeholder put into Christmas. And then in my sinking funds, $1,000 of placeholders into emergency, $500 in insurance, $500 from home, and then $500 into subscriptions. So all of that together came to $9,100 that is going to the bank, combination of just Magical Vacation Savings Challenges that are fully funded and ready to go to the bank, and a lot of placeholders into my other sinking funds and into the holiday savings challenge. So all in all, a huge cash condensing. I'm so excited that that one is over. I'm super excited for all of this to go into the bank and start earning interest, which will be amazing. And then when it's ready to get spent, it's there and ready for me to spend it, which is what this is all about. So for those of you that stayed along with me during this journey and stayed patient through that reconciliation, thank you so much for watching. I hope that this was enjoyable to watch. Cash condensings are one of my favorite, probably my favorite type of cash stuffing thing in video to film, and I know a lot of you love it for like the ASMR of it. So I hope that this was a satisfying condensing for you to watch. For those of you that have been following my personal finance journey, I just want to say thank you so much for staying on this journey with me, for encouraging me in all the ways that you do, for supporting me, the shop, and just all the ways that you support this channel. And mostly for those of you that are on your own personal finance journey, as always, I want to wish you a simple budget, a calm mind, and a happy life. Thanks so much for watching this condensing, guys, and we will see you in the next one, which will be my unstuffing for the month of October. See you soon.